Yo, 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 welcome back to White Dads Can't Jump here with the main man, Chad. How we doing?
Hey, doing good. How you doing?
Summer has started. I am reporting from a secret location in North Carolina, and the reason it's a secret is because I'm not 100% sure where I am.
It's like
Uh,
Greenbrier for the president.
that's
I
exactly
think it's
right.
Greenbrier in Virginia. I think that's where it is. I don't know.
It's supposed to be a secret. So yeah, and the part of the reason that I don't know where I am is because we're sort of in the middle of a bunch of places. We've got a Airbnb situation going on here, which is great, except that we are broadcasting live tonight thanks to our friends at Starlink. Um,
Oh, Elon for the win.
that's right. Thank you, Mr. Musk, for our communication tonight. So phoning that in. So if we hit any technical glitches, which we're never known for, I don't think we've ever had a technical glitch until tonight. So if we hit one tonight, we'll blame Elon.
Well, I wonder if how that we're obviously it's satellite, right?
Yeah, and I think it is relatively fast and speedy, but I'm not sure that the Airbnb host invested in the top tier plan. We might be working with like the bronze plan opposed to the platinum.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
um,
I wonder if that's the one he sent through Ukraine.
right. This is why things are going the way they're going in that part of the world.
Yeah.
Um, but all things considered, we got Claire dropped off at camp. She seems to be loving it. We're getting so there. Our topic last week, AI, it's back, man. So the way they are doing this is they have photographers walking around this camp that take
Oh,
pictures like paparazzi of all
are
the
they
kids
vetted?
everywhere, as far as I know, everywhere all the time. And then they just take all the photos and feed them into the computer and they let AI figure out where your kid is and then automatically send you the shot as they take it. So it's like if you've ever been to one of the parks, Disney or Universal or whatever, they obviously have the photographers and you can like get the package or
Yeah.
whatever. But this is like totally real time. So it's like Claire was on the blob. Boom, you saw her go off the blob. And they send it to you because the AI recognizes it. So we're getting sort of random action shots of her. Her mother did notice that she was sort of in the same outfit for about 2 or 3 days in a row.
Oh,
So, yeah, but I think it was just the sweatshirt. So,
it happens. I went
yeah,
to California one time for spring break, and this girl that lived in the house that we were staying at, or maybe she was a friend, she wore the same clothes every day. And at one point, me being me, I said, "Well, if you ever change your clothes, we're not going to know your name." And that did not go over as well
some people have no
as you
sense
might
of
have thought
humor.
of. People were like, "That's not funny." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I thought it was."
My bad.
Oopsie, oopsie.
So we have so because Claire is having her big whiz bang week, we and Connor's birthday right around the corner, uh, right at the top of June, and we went by a toy store. Now you know the difference. Like if you are like, oh Hannah, we're gonna go to Target and we're gonna get a toy. There are nice toys at Target. I do like the Target toy section, but it does not compare to going to a proper toy store, particularly in like a small town. You know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about? Like there's
Yeah,
one on Main Street and they've got all of the toys, but you really, ever since Toys R Us closed, you don't see them anywhere else.
yeah. R.I.P. There.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a tough one for
Uh,
me. That was a big blow.
right. From a financial standpoint, this is what debt gets you, kids. You can't over leverage your toy company and just keep pulling cash out and expect good things to happen.
Yeah,
So we take
damn
Connor.
Bain Financial bit around me.
We take Connor to a non-Bain Financial owned toy store, and he finds these Gravitrax. Have you ever heard of Gravitrax?
It sounds like something that you put on the wall and they can drive up the wall.
Oh, okay, very close. He actually has a fake chameleon that can go up the wall and stick to the wall. It's really weird. But this is not what this is. This is what you dreamed about, and your mom instead bought you a marble run where you plink, let
Yeah,
it go, and it goes brrrr, and
yeah.
then you rebuild it and it goes brrrr, over and over. This is a powered marble run. meaning that it has a catapult. So if the marble's on a lower level, it will boop, scoop it up onto a higher level. It has remote controlled gates so that you can adjust the direction or the path that the marble goes down.
Hmm.
It has sensors so that as the marble crosses the finish line, it sends the signal up to the starting marble base and it sends the next marble down. It You're gonna love it. I'm gonna bring it
AI.
home.
Speaking
It's
of
got
marbles, have you ever seen that video where the guy plays the music with the marble machine?
I don't think so.
It went viral like 10 years ago. It has like 400 million views.
Oh, speaking of
He built this
views,
machine and it's just like these marbles dropping in and it makes music. It's
yeah,
crazy. But yeah,
we are going to insert that video here. And if you like to view that and you like to view your favorite white dads, we would like to take this moment to ask you to like and subscribe right below, hit the button, boop, boop,
boom,
and
boom.
we would love that. So thank you very much, fam. Um,
Because
what
as we
have you,
do our own internal analytics instead of using AI, it tells us
right,
that more than half of the people that are watching our content aren't subscribed. So
right.
helps out.
And we'd like to do shout outs now.
Oh, yeah, we got one shout out for the week.
Okay.
If you comment, well, if it's a good comment, we'll
Right.
shout you out.
It's not a universal
And
truth.
this week's shout out goes to Aaron. Aaron said another banger last week. Another week, another banger, I think was the quote. So we appreciate that, Aaron. Good
Aaron, you're
luck
getting a
wherever
shout
you're
out.
heading up to Maryland in the fall. So
Yeah.
good luck there, and thanks for
Annapolis.
watching.
I am so impressed. What an amazing guy. I cannot wait to see what he ends up doing. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I had this individual in class for quite a while, and it took
Uh-huh.
half the year, and the kids were like, he's Chinese, right?" And I'm like, "No, I had no idea." Like stealth Chinese.
Okay. And do, the more you know. Yes. Aaron is going to go on to do great things, hopefully for the Americans, not the Chinese. So, what have you? I have left you in Florida. You are running the whole state by yourself, you and Ron,
Me and Ron, yeah, we've got
because
together.
the
We've
Presidente is up in Washington.
Yeah, yeah, things are still very Florida. It started raining, so that's nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. For those of you that didn't see that short, it is snowing in Florida.
Right?
Great clip.
Yeah, we've been getting rain every day, so that's nice.
You've
And
been able, you have been able to hit the golf course in between the raindrops.
I hit the course today. Actually, I to that point, I had a great White Dads Can't Jump golf polo on, which keep an eye out for those coming out pretty soon as well. I
Available
can
near
say
you
it was
soon.
very comfy, very airy. Helped that swing.
Love it. Yeah,
It
it
was
will
all the
increase
rage.
your golf score. I am almost sure that's
Yeah.
true.
In fact, the starter, he asked me about it. It's a conversation starter. He's like, "What's
Yeah,
that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, it's a podcast." And then we had a little conversation. So there you go.
wonderful. And if
Clothing,
there's
fashion, and conversation starter all in one.
and starter, if you're listening now, just leave a comment below, and you'll be in the shout out next week. So,
Yeah, I got a
uh,
couple hit a par today, so that's always a good sign.
excellent. Is that a par three, four, five?
It was par three, and we were doing a scramble, so really I only hit one of the shots, but whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Was this like a charity tournament, or were you just
It's a
out
team
playing
game.
around?
I was down at the range. And I ran into some people, and they said, "Hey, you want to play?" And I said, "Sure."
I love it when that happens.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time.
More than you should admit to. Okay. So that's good. So other than golf, what's been happening? I hear you have molten poisoning.
Well, I might.
Self-administered.
So we're got some construction going on in the house. We're putting in a proper office for my wife because she didn't want to hang out with us over the summer and work apparently. So,
I would take it
um,
personally.
so we're gonna do that. But on the flip side, the room that we're cutting in half I'm gonna get an 80-inch TV, I think. So I'm very excited about that.
Woo!
So
Costco, here we come.
congratulations, me. Um, Hopefully, definitely by football season. So I'm very excited for that. So
That is awesome.
it's a win-win. I started running and swimming every day. I'm on day 4
Ooh, all
of
right.
my. I get up early and run, and then I do a quick swim. So it's not great. I'm not excited about it each time I do it, but consistency is key. So
Absolutely.
do that in
Are
the morning,
you doing the mile up to the school?
mile and back. Yeah, up to the road and
Okay.
back. Well, the school's not out yet, so I had a little tricky situation today. So I had to veer off course and find a new route. But I found my mile, came back, did some
Got
swimming,
caught in
so
traffic.
feeling pretty good.
All
My
right.
shoulder hurts constantly. That's comes with the aging process. So there's that.
Got good. All right. Well, we will look forward to the swim update now on a weekly basis because you now have a community to hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to the big screen TV. I think, one of the things that you're going to watch on that TV, I'm sure of it, is the news. And so in the news this week,
All the
I've
time.
got, yeah. If you switch off Newsmax, you're going to find a few local stories, and one of those is going to be a groom. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this starts very fairy tale, and here's where the twist
When you
comes
say
in.
fairy tale, you mean like
Oh,
Disney
white
fairy tale?
white dress,
Okay.
everybody's there, everything's going great. There's a little bit of a soap opera twist, and that is that apparently the groom ran off with the wrong person.
Yes.
Who do you think that person was?
Maid of honor.
Who was that?
Maid of honor.
Very close to the bride's mother.
Oh, that was my next guest. That was my next
Okay.
one.
So then what country did this happen in?
Oh, what country did this happen in? Russia?
That would not be a bureau approved news story to come out of Russia. So no, this actually happened in the UK.
Oh,
So I assume the bride just got a stiff upper lip and kept smiling and carried on because
yeah.
that's what you do there.
Keep calm, carry on. Yeah.
Keep calm,
Maybe
carry
she
on.
went with his dad. Maybe it just worked out well. I wonder how old the
Uh,
mom was. Do we have that information?
you know what? I would be happy. The Shepherd Express is actually the reporting agency on this,
Oh, they're
and
very credible.
I assume you read them every morning.
I've had a deep dive into them. Well, God bless her.
Oopsies. You broke up on me there. What did you say?
I said, God bless her, the the bride. That's a tough.
Tough
Now,
break.
if they have kids, she be the
Uh-huh.
aunt. No, the
Yeah.
stepsister. Be her stepsister. That'd be a fun family reunion.
Happy Thanksgiving. Let's cut
Yeah,
the turkey.
pull the
Uh,
wishbone.
no, I'm actually, I had the article here and I'm not seeing it now. So let's just assume that it ended happily ever after. I
Hmm.
don't think that we have any reason to think anything else happened there.
Love knows no bounds.
This brings us to your wedding, in fact. So your wedding, where did that occur?
In Orlando.
Okay, and everything went totally normal, totally planned.
Yeah, it was actually really good. It worked out as perfectly as it could have.
The only thing that happened on my wedding day was it was outdoors for the ceremony
Mine too.
piece, and we had rain. It started raining,
Oh,
and of course, straight crisis mode because you assume that nothing's going to go right after that. 15 minutes before the ceremony, it stops raining. Everybody wipes down the chairs. Boom, perfect wedding.
yeah. We actually had to go early because of an
Oh,
impending storm, so it kind of
oh,
happened sooner.
so you just danced around it.
So the priest or pastor or whatever guy was like, "Hey, we got a storm coming. We need to make this happen sooner than later." So we made that happen. Now that I do think of it, there was one situation that I remember that I'm still a little upset about. So
Okay.
we got for the appetizers, there was a crab spread that I was
Okay.
very excited about. And just because of the whole situation, by the time I got out there, it had all been consumed.
Did you
So
see
that
Father
was
of
a
the
little
Bride with
disappointing.
Steve Martin?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you remember in that movie that he gets to eat nothing? He eats
Right.
nothing. He pays $1 billion according to him for this entire feast, and he gets to consume nothing. I feel like that was you almost had a George Banks experience there.
Yeah, I was not happy about it. I mean, it was 10 years ago and I still remember. So that was
Oh,
one of the things I remember.
how? What about the honeymoon?
We went to Jamaica,
Okay, Jamaica
went
me
to a
crazy.
resort.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy in the sense that when we went off the resort, you literally saw a truck full of men with machine guns and machetes. But other than that, welcome to Jamaica.
The warm Caribbean vibe you were looking for.
Yeah, I was really. We went to some waterfall, and then on the way back, we're on this bus, and they pull us off on the side of the road. And I'm like, "This is it. This is the end."
Everything seemed to be going so well there for a minute.
The National Army is going to kidnap us with this shady strip mall, for the lack of a better term,
And
to get
I assume that this
empanadas and whatever.
I assume this was the moment that you decided to remind Jamie that she had chosen Jamaica.
Yeah, I didn't want to get off the resort at any point. It was very concerning. All of it. Yeah. I haven't left the country since.
You haven't left the country
Just a
since.
different world there.
Oops. All right. I think we're having some classic
Uh-oh. I
technical
think we're having
difficulty
some
here.
technical
Trying
difficulties
to
here.
connect. Hey,
You still
there we
there?
go. Yeah. Hey, we Starlink.
Starlink?
We love them. We love Starlink. They
There you
are
go.
bringing me back from the boonies here. Um, well, so you did. I assume you survived Jamaica, so that was good news.
Yeah.
My honeymoon story. We go to Amelia Island,
Okay.
and we're checking it out. Everything's going fine. Just enjoying some time. After the craziness of the wedding, time by ourselves. Everything's good. So we go to a restaurant on Amelia Island, and we were just going there to eat one night. But when you walk in, you see on the walls and you hear the waiter and waitress talk about the hype that the chef at the restaurant personally knows one of the captains from one of the deadliest catch boats that
Oh,
brings
okay.
in the Alaskan king crab.
Okay.
And it just so happened that they were in season. The show wasn't being aired because obviously they have to do post production and it comes out way later,
Right.
as we learned a couple episodes ago from one of our entertainment insiders.
Right. Check out
And
episode 8.
episode 8. And but so it wasn't airing, but they were actually at sea. And so what they would do is you had to put down your credit card, you had to pay in advance. But if you were willing to pay in advance, they would call the ship captain, have a fresh, never frozen Alaskan king crab brought in. They would overnight FedEx it again on ice, but not frozen.
Mm-hmm.
It would show up
Chilled.
at the chilled. There, yeah, chilled, if you will. It would show up at the restaurant, and of course, chef would prepare it for you. So you had to say you wanted to do it, put down the deposit, and then show back up 48 hours later, 36 hours later, and eat your crab. It was take your arms, put them together. It was that big. The center body was the size of my head, but the legs stretched out the full
Yeah.
length. Like if you were to take your hands and put them above your head, it was massive. So we immediately, take the cheesy pictures and do all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we say, okay, you got to deshell this thing because this is too much. So it turns into this mountainous pile of crab meat that has to be the size of a soccer ball. There is a soccer ball of
Wow.
pure crab meat sitting on this plate when they bring it back to us. It is glorious. And of course, you're dipping this in butter and it is tasting amazing, but it is so rich that no matter what your eyes are telling you, your stomach's like, no, this isn't going to work.
Right.
So we end up taking, this large thing of crab meat home, and we take it to the hotel that night. The next night, we are driving back to our house, and we stop at my brother-in-law's place, and we end up spending the night there. So we get in the car the next morning, and we get 2 hours down the road towards Winter Haven, and what is not in the car?
The crab.
My brother-in-law, welcome to the family. We left the crab at his house. I could not believe it. So that's how we got started. I guess I indoctrinated myself well into the family, and we're still here today. Almost 10
Yeah,
years later.
and you set yourself up for constant disappointment. So that's really one of the
The
better
hallmarks of
lessons
marriage.
of marriage.
Okay. So, main man Chad, how long have you been married?
It'll be 10 years next month
10
in
years.
like 2 weeks.
All credible research says that one of the most important decisions that you make in your life is who you are going to spend the rest of your life with, which seems like a yes but of course moment, but if you actually give it some sincere thought, it is a huge decision. So what would you like to share with our guests tonight for what has been your secrets to 10 years of wedded bliss,
Mm.
happiness, daily joy and enrichment and fulfillment?
Well, I feel like I'm at school now trying to tell kids how to have a positive relationship. I think, one of the big things is you can't rely on the other person for your happiness, I think, is what it comes down to. And you have to be both with that understanding. And I think we have that understanding of each other. Like we don't put that on one another.
Right.
And we explore and appreciate our differences in the sense of I'll do things that I like to do. If she doesn't like to do it, I still do it, or vice versa.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not like we have to do the same things together all the time. So, I think
Yeah.
the independence is important and the appreciation of that towards one another is important as well.
I think that's so huge because obviously anybody can see how that would cause arguments if you do the opposite of that. If you're only having fun if your wife is having fun, that's going to be problematic for you because when are you going to be having fun for yourself? Absolutely. And then for me, I would tell you that communication is the whole ball game, and sometimes it's just as simple as making sure that you're keeping each other in the loop on things that are going on and that your plans and expectations and hopes. um, Communication is definitely another bedrock to keeping everything together. So tonight, in the spirit of this, did I tell my wife that I was planning on doing recording the podcast tonight?
Absolutely not.
No, no, because people that give advice, how often do they actually follow their own good advice?
In fairness, though, it should have been assumed.
Right, right. Listen, the sausage has to get made.
Right.
We have hungry customers in the morning. Exactly right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're so independent that when I suggested that we put phone tracking on, that was a hard no.
Whoa. So wait,
Yeah, hard no.
you who told who no on this situation?
Well, I got a new phone and I realized this was an option. Was
Okay,
putting because I don't know these things. I mean, I know people do it, but I
sure.
thought it was like a third party app or whatever. So we had the same phone. So I was like, oh, we should put our locations on. And she's like, why? And I said, I don't know, maybe because when you don't come home with the kid, and I can have an idea where you're at instead of asking.
Safety.
Right. And she's like, I don't like that. I said, all right. So we turned it on for a couple of days. And what's funny is that you could have an alert that comes on when you look at them. So I was going to do it
Uh-huh.
one night just for fun when she was out with her friend to see what the response was, but I didn't do it, but I wanted to.
Okay. So we're talking about communication and trust and everybody having their own fun. Did you have any follow-up questions as to why tracking wasn't an option in your relationship?
No, I mean, at this point, I mean, it's a known, I mean, I knew the answer before I
In
even
the, in
had to
the
ask it.
in the words of Donald Rumsfeld, it's a known known.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't a surprise response. I mean, after 10 years, there shouldn't be too many surprises.
Well, and to be fair, she's in the IT industry, so she knows the ways that the Russians and other people hack us and spy on us and whatever. So I'm sure that she has her own sensitivities to things like that. Is
Yeah.
that
We have
where
to be
some of this is
mindful
coming from?
of the algorithm.
The
Can't
out
say too
there.
many, can't say too many words around the phones because we don't want the algorithm to get messed up.
It's amazing you're able to do a podcast.
Well, she doesn't listen to it. So. No, I'm kidding. She
Okay.
does. She
Right.
does.
Another secret to success: hide everything. Okay, so on this topic of marriage, marriage is one thing. You've selected the perfect partner. You've escaped the rain on your wedding day, whether that meant going faster or slower, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
You leave the crab at your brother-in-law's so that everybody's happy, and then you're just moving right along. Then comes the next big part of this relationship, which is children.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does that conversation germinate with you? How did this all come to be?
um, it was more of a like it had to happen situation.
It was more of
Like
a
it was
what
a package
situation?
deal, part of it. Because I would have been fine without having a child.
Oh, okay, got it.
That
Yeah,
was
I
not
was,
something that wasn't a must have for me.
but it was just growing up. It was just you and your brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you come from a more like the classic nuclear family. I had a brother, a sister, and then two stepsisters that I grew up with more or less. And so I was used to a lot more racket, a lot more engagement and interaction at home. And so I knew that I wanted some kids. And so she was at, like you, closer to zero, don't have to have any, whatever. And I said, listen, that's fine, but I have to have some number of kids. And so we kind of, she softly agreed on two, leaving the conversation open to three. But when I went girl
Mm,
boy, she's like, there's nothing else. Like,
right.
you've got the
Well,
girl, you've got the boy. Well,
at
okay,
the
hang on.
time there wasn't, but
When we were having this conversation, there was,
right.
we
Things
had
change.
rounded all the bases. Right. This was more of a conservative traditionalist conversation. Um, so yeah, I mean, at that point, we had done it, and I could not be happier with having the kids now because not that I ever regretted it, but because do you ever think about your legacy
Am I concerned about my legacy? Sorry, the
or not?
cat feeder went off. Speaking of kids.
Speaking of legacy, do you ever think about your legacy?
No. Not no.
When you're gone, it's done.
No, yeah, yeah. There's no. I mean, when you say legacy, I mean, I guess no, no.
Right. But honestly, I think that that's the one thing that people over put too much importance on. Like, unless you've risen to the level of Carnegie and you're going to name every library east of the Mississippi, like in how many generations? One or two generations? No one's even going to remember that you were even with us. So the idea that anybody has a super long lasting legacy, I think, is silly and brings us back to the idea of just you are responsible for having your own fun. And I love how you started that with this relationship, and I think it applies throughout your entire life.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I were to leave a legacy behind, it'd be one of caring. Oh wait, no, that's not right. But I would say,
I thought
I
this was
think
going to
which
involve that
the
PS5 game.
ultimate, the ultimate goal, I think, of parenting would be that your kids take what you've taught them and pass that on, and whatever that might be. It could be something as simple as having fun together or enjoying one another's company, or because it's all about value. Like, what do you value? Some people value different things, and so I think if I had a legacy of valuing things, it would just be about quality time, learning to appreciate people, and that kind of thing, and pass that on. But God knows
Yeah.
who she's going to marry, and then that could be all go to hell.
So you win. Listen, you win some, you lose some. Um, well, all of this got started with the groom in the UK running off to with the mother of the bride. That was, yeah, a unique story and not anything that ever crossed my mind. So I really hope that worked out for them. And
No, no. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you do, depending on the situation, of course, like if you have a kid when you're 17 and
right,
then they're getting married at 23 and you're 40,
yeah.
I mean, that's not outside of the realm of possibility. Like if her husband, if her fiance is 28,
You're just talking logistics now.
right. So, I mean, it's not, now hopefully by the time my kid gets married, I'll be, in my 50s.
Yeah.
just because how old? Oh yeah, definitely in my 50s.
Yeah.
Hell, no, she gets married at
Let's
15.
call that the bare
Yeah,
minimum
I mean
requirement.
maybe closer to 60 actually. So
Right. The main man
yeah,
history teacher over there. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, yeah.
yikes.
Let's go 60s.
That was a
Uh,
scary realization right now. Thanks for that.
that's right up there with when they refer to your child by the year that they're going to graduate from high school.
Yeah.
Oh, so and so's a 2035. You're like, what? That doesn't even seem real.
Yeah, especially I mean for me, I graduated in 2000, so it's easy to know what how many years ago it was since I graduated. So
Right.
this is a big 25, and then that'll be 35 years.
Woo.
Which it's funny when you think about time. When you grow up, you watch movies, and they'll say like 20 years ago or 20 years flash forward, and it seems like this huge chunk of time, and the characters are totally different, and they don't know each other, or like things have changed so dramatically in those 20 years. But when you age yourself, you're like, hell, 20 years ago, I could tell you what I was doing, it's like it was yesterday.
I was sitting at an Applebee's.
Like you drop into the situation, like my wife and I were talking about today. When we used to live in Virginia, I said because I went back a few years ago, and I said within 3 hours I was back in my old room that I lived in for 4 years, and it was like the last 10 years had just been erased, and I was right back into 2010. I was like, all right, what are we doing tonight? And it just in the blink of an eye, you just go back to what it
Yeah.
was. But when you're like I said, when you're a kid, movies make it seem like that gap is so big, but it's really not.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's all of the percentage of your life. Like
Right.
1 year for a 2 year old is 50%. 1 year for a 20-year old is only 5%. And obviously that math just keeps continuously getting extrapolated as you go along. And you can do the same thing again with 20 years. I mean, it just feels like it's going by in a blink, which is true in marriage. It's kind of weird to think that we've both been married for 10 years even.
That's a
That
decade.
Yeah, that feels like that just happened. But
Well,
boom,
I think
here we
what's really
are.
weird too is when your kids hit the age that you can remember being that age.
Yeah,
So it's like
that's a moment,
they're having core memories being built or created now that they're going to remember forever.
and you're the boss of them.
Right. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's just time is a very obviously fleeting thing. And it's fun how it kind of, as a teacher, it I think goes even faster because you live in 9 month blocks,
Right.
and then it moves on, and then you get a new group of kids, and then things change, and then those kids leave, and then it's
Yeah.
like you go through this cycle constantly, and then you're getting older, but it doesn't feel like it because the kids are staying the same age that are cycling through.
I've
So
seen this movie before.
yeah.
Uh, um, yeah. We teach for when it's all said and done about 10 months. And so then uh, the kids have pretty much 2 months of summer. I mean, that's really what it boils down to now. And so at the end of each school year, like you say, we get broken up into these chunks of time. And the kids are like, oh, see you next year, see you next year. It's really kind of a bummer for them when I say see you in 60 days.
Right.
They,
Yeah.
they don't quite think of it like that. I'm like,
Right. Like today was day one of vacation, and it's almost over.
we're 2 field trip camps away from this being done. All right. Well, on our lovely topic of marriage tonight, I have a top five for you if you are prepared.
I am very prepared. I know
Okay.
all about marriage. I am a marriage aficionado. I should be a
Guru.
marriage counselor, honestly. Usually, it's funny because usually my advice ends up with you should break up.
That's because they're asking you for advice. Like,
Right. Once it gets to me, that's what I tell them. Like, you come to me. What do you think I'm going to say? There's no other solution at this point.
the good news for me is there's only one way out of this.
You know, it's
Uh,
funny. And before we move on here, I
yeah,
want to kind of hit
please.
back on the kids, right? Because these kids are going off to college,
Hmm.
and a lot of them have their high school relationships. And so I'm curious, what would be your advice if your daughter has a high school boyfriend and they're going off to different schools?
My
What's the
advice
play there?
is, I mean, it's this plays the same way every time in every situation. Through experience and age, the grown-ups always say, "Don't do it, break up, live a little." and the kids always say, we're going to try it and try and find a way to make it work. And then one of
Hmm.
them gets crushed or both of them gets crushed. I mean, that falls into the category of tales old time.
I don't think there's another answer to that. But
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's a very generational thing. Well,
Yeah.
not generational in terms of
Just
the answer,
lack of
but in terms of
experience.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I think too when you like my guy grew up in a small town. Depending on the school situation, these kids their worldview is so small, and they don't
Yeah.
understand like the amount of people that are out there, the amount of interest that they might
Yes.
have, or if they're not gonna be the same person they were in 2 years.
One of my
Because I
first
think it's kind of ignorant to think that someone can grow at the same rate
Yeah,
together.
right, and in the same direction. One
Right.
of my first bosses, my first professional white collar boss, not on day one, but eventually said to me, "Kevin, you're out there, you're on the dating scene. Here's what I want you to remember. You see this beautiful person at the other end of the bar that you think you want to go talk to, and you think, and even you go over there, you talk to them, everything seems to be going great. Just remember that beautiful person at the other end of the bar, there is somebody that is sick of their crap. Like, nobody is perfect. Everybody has their own set of picadillos. And
Hmm.
so just finding the person who you can interact and deal with the best, that's the whole name of the game right there. Who can
Yeah,
you
because
deal
you
with
have
their
to.
crap?
Right. It's like right. Is their crap too much for you to deal with? And if it is, you need to bail real
Bail.
fast
And don't
because
delude
the crap's
yourself.
not going to get any easier or less
Uh,
crazy.
there is a crazy hot scale thing, but we don't have time for that tonight. Okay,
Oh my
so
gosh. Hey, well, to that point, if you haven't seen it, check it out.
check
I
it
just saw
out.
it recently and it was, I mean,
Had
it's
you never
true.
seen it before?
I'd never seen it before. It was new to me
Oh my god,
like
I did not
four
know
months
that.
ago,
That's
but
amazing.
it is hilarious. It's good stuff.
I think that an elder statesman probably told you about that. Okay, so top 5 things no one tells you about marriage, but should. Number 5, I love you sometimes means let's not talk right now.
I love you, but
No, I love you sometimes means let's not talk right now.
yeah, but I mean, that's how it goes. Like the conversation
Oh,
starter.
yeah.
That's
Well,
like, I need
yeah,
space kind of thing.
yeah. Well, and I don't think that they're going for the full breakup, but it's like we've been married 10 years, and I still love you, but what this conversation that you're trying to have, like, I don't want to talk to you
Right.
about that right now. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't find myself in that situation very often, honestly.
that's
But
good.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, you are, and I will give you full credit, one of the most laid back, go with the flow guys ever. So it does not surprise me
yeah,
that you don't find yourself in that situation.
it depends what it is. Some things trigger me more than others.
Parking seems to be a big trigger for you. Number
Oh my
4,
god.
bathroom etiquette becomes a sacred pact.
Oh, okay.
Some couples go full open door policy, others treat it like a demilitarized zone. There is no in between.
I would agree with that.
Okay, and do you want to comment on where you fall on that?
I think everyone needs a sanctuary.
Okay, so we're going demilitarized zone. Okay. Number 3, petty wars are real and hilarious. Whether it's the thermostat dishes in the sink or who, quote unquote, always unloads the dishwasher, the pettiness is forever, and so is the scoreboard.
Our situation is my clothes on the floor randomly, and
And only
then
one of the socks. The other
the
socks is
re-
nowhere to be found.
the flip of that is like sweet and low packets that stay on the counter. Like
Are they half used sweet milk packets?
that's like the yin and the yang of that.
Uh, Starlink was working on Ukraine there for a second. What did you say?
The I said you cut out.
Oops, main man Chad, you there? Oops, Starlink.
I hear Starlink. Elon,
Okay, we're back. Elon
maybe if you
has us
put a red
back.
hat on, it'll work better. Or plug it into a
uh,
Tesla.
what did you do with the sweet milk packets?
Oh, I don't do anything with them. They just
Oh,
get left
they're
out.
oh, okay, and that causes just total pandemonium in your house.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Number two, romantic nights sometimes involve separate blankets and separate shows.
Yeah, that, yeah, 100%.
But
On
you
that
know where
one.
this is coming from. Like the kids, when they're starting out in the relationship, it's like, oh no, we've got to be watching the same thing. We've got to be cuddling. It's the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, that's no go.
Independent fun, but that's
Yeah,
the
I have
theme.
no idea what she's been watching lately. Definitely things that I don't want to watch, and vice versa.
Number one on the top five things no one tells you about marriage but should. You'll have the same argument for 20 years, just in different outfits.
I could see that. I
I
think my
mean,
parents probably my parents were definitely guilty of that more
you're
than I
10
am.
years away from the sweet and low argument. Like, it's coming.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any continuous argument. I don't think so.
Okay, good. Well,
I
we'll
usually
check in
forget
with
most
you.
things. I forget a lot of things. So
Which ironically is an argument I heard you have at a birthday party one time, but you argued the other way that you do remember things.
I
Just
remember some things
and
really well.
then to your credit, you got quizzed and you knew the answer to all of the things. So yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. That, I'm just trying to think in my mind here of what I've had any continuous beefs about anything.
No,
I don't think so.
it's not worth it. If hey, quick question though before we wrap it up here: if two vegans get in an argument, do they have beef?
Do
Okay,
they have beef?
that, that's all for tonight. Mayman Chad, you got anything else?
No, just keep on listening, keep on subscribing, keep on liking,
All right, and
help us out.
be good.